K98 Talk is expanding its lineup for 2015. This means we are expanding our advertising base. Whether you're a startup trying to push through to the next level or an established business trying to supplement your advertising budget, web-based advertising is a solid investment. Thanks to Talk's newest partnership with TuneIn Radio and instant access to our sister station, K98 FM, we give you worldwide access at a reasonable cost. Interested parties should email us at sales@k98fm.com. K98 Talk is expanding its lineup for 2015. This means we are expanding our advertising base. Whether you're a startup trying to push through to the next level or an established business trying to supplement your advertising budget, web-based advertising is a solid investment. Thanks to Talk's newest partnership with TuneIn Radio and instant access to our sister station, K98 FM, we give you worldwide access at a reasonable cost. Interested parties should email us at sales@k98fm.com. K98talk.com, a leader in internet radio. So grab your seatbelts and take the ride of your life on K98talk.com.
One shot, baby, there you go again. 2 shots and I think you know again. 3 shots come, you might find your daddy gone. 1 shot, baby, there you go again. 2 shots and I think you know again. 3 shots come.
Welcome to Unapologetically Bunny. I am your host. The rainy days and Mondays always get me down, Bunny. And tonight we have a full show. Okay, so I always say that, but especially tonight, right here live on K98talk.com. Now, I have this whole thing written out. Yeah, I know I always do this, but I have this whole thing written out. And tonight, though, I have to give a shout out to Senator Paul. You know, I'm telling you what. It's pretty amazing what he's doing out there today, because it'd be awfully easy to sit around and just say, well, we hate the Patriot Act, but nothing we can do about it. Meh. He's up there filibustering the reauthorization of the Patriot Act. So you know what? While I'm not nearly as entertaining as what he's doing today, because that's a long time to talk, let me tell you. So he's really got some stuff pulled out. I'm going to give him a shout out because I know some of you are listening to me and you're not listening to him right now. Some of the things he was talking about really freaked me out. I understand that they're spying on us, you know, and you hear it so often and you make so many jokes about it. Like I used to have this whole bumper that talked about, hey there, NSA, you're here anyway. You might as well sit around and listen and learn something. You know, it used to be a joke. But listening to him talk about what this act does, what this act allows, scared the shit out of me. And what really bothered me was, beyond thinking about them spying, was the billions of dollars, he said, that we're losing in America because other countries don't want our software, they don't want our hardware, because they're scared we're going to spy on them. I hadn't even thought about that, you guys. I guess I'm kind of self-centered and I'm thinking about the jokes I can make about the NSA stealing my shopping list off my phone. You know, haha, that's really funny. But then you think about the money we're losing as a country because people don't trust us, because we're going to spy on them. And he talked about really smart things. The guy is so smart. What drives me crazy is there things I cannot agree with him on. The amnesty piece of it. Some of his foreign policy makes me really uncomfortable. But he's spot on with this. He's out there fighting for your Fourth Amendment rights. I think that's spectacular. And you know what's really interesting? It's bipartisan. There are some Democrat senators who've stood up and helped him. There's actually been another Republican who stood up and helped. But what's really bothering me about that, too, is that there are more Democrats helping him than Republicans. And Mitch McConnell was ready to shove the thing through. I have a real problem with that. So I wanted to bring that up because I wanted to give that a shout out because I think that's freaking amazing that he's actually doing that. And I don't know exactly how long he has to stand up that's left. I don't know if it's just till midnight that it runs out or if it's longer than that. That's how uneducated I am about what he's doing. I listened off and on throughout the day. I saw Senator Mike Lee get up and help a little bit. I would really like that my senators from Wyoming would get up. Barrasso, Enzi, I'm talking to you. Get up there and help him. But I had to go off on that tangent. But my main thing I want to talk about is cake. Yes, you know, us chubby girls like cake. I got to talk about cake, but not because it's delicious and awesome and we love cake, but because another freaking baker has been sued and is having to bake a cake for a gay couple. I get it, okay? We've had this discussion a lot. We've been talking about freaking wedding cake for, a year now? How many times are they going to sue bakers because they won't make them a cake? It's like they want to be equal, right? I get that. They want to be equal. But they're acting like they should be special instead of equal, if that makes any sense at all. And working with people with disabilities, I can tell you that a lot of people don't like to be special because it means that they're separate. It segregates you, being special. Equal is just equal. It means you go into a bakery and the baker may or may not have time or want to make you a cake. When my husband and I got married, we talked to 2 bakers before we found the baker who made our wedding cake. Now, I didn't ask them why they didn't want to bake me a cake. They could have, hated women with blonde hair and buck teeth. I don't know. But they said no. We didn't sue. We went and found their damn baker. It was not that big a deal. And here's the thing, too. The word discrimination gets tossed around all the damn time now. It's kind of like racism, and it's losing its real meaning. It's losing its impact. This is not about discrimination. Oh my God, how many times have I had this conversation in social media with people who are like, yeah, that was discrimination on that cake and stuff. Shame on them. They're hateful. Ooh, bigots. Without them understanding one damn bit about what the baker is really doing. The baker didn't go, oh my gosh, it's a gay, and like shove them out of the bakery. That would be discrimination. Oh my God, I don't like gay people. Get out of my bakery. That's discrimination. Not being able to bake a cake because a specific cake goes against your religion. And it's not the cake, it's the act of the ceremony. Bakers don't just bake a cake and send it on its way. They come, they set the cake up at the wedding. It's not like it's just something you could take home in a big box. It has to be put out. It's part of the wedding. And if your religion says, if your beliefs are that you are not to support that, or you just do not support that, isn't making the baker do that indentured servitude? Isn't that treating that baker almost as a slave? And I know I'm going to hear, oh my gosh, it's slavery, you're being so extreme. But it's really not, because what this judge is doing is making the baker perform a service that baker does not want to perform. Could I say perform again? Perform. But think about that for a minute, really. The bakers don't want to do something, and so big babies go and sue, and big government goes, well, you have to do what we say, so do it, or I'll slap your ass or something. It's bullshit. And I'm so tired of it, because there are a lot of us out there who support same-sex marriage. I'm one of those people who also support the notion of religious freedom, who support the idea that your beliefs are important and that my orientation should not infringe on what you believe. Right? I mean, that's what adults do. We don't have to go to tell the government, big nanny, that we didn't get our way every damn time. This makes me nuts. And is this indicative of the society that has the gimmies, that is entitled, that wins a 5th place trophy because they tried? I mean, are we creating a society of babies? Because it feels like that. And then I feel like I'm a big meanie because I'm like, suck it up, buttercup. This is how it is. This is reality. This is how life works. Not everybody is going to accept you. In fact, a lot of people won't accept you. Whether you're straight, gay, purple, pink, brown, yellow, whatever you are, fat, skinny, tall, short, they don't care. There are going to be people out there who don't like you just because they don't like you. It would be like I went into a leftist bakery and I said, hey there, lefties, I know you hate me. Bake me a cake. Can you imagine the shitty cake they would bake? I mean, this is kind of what this looks like. Now, for me, the left really don't like me. So this is really about, well, we hate bunnies, so let's spit in our cake. The gays going in and asking for a gay wedding cake, and the baker says, I don't want to do that. Odds are the baker doesn't really care either way about the person. And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to internalize this. They're trying to make the cake about them. And it really is not about them. And I think, again, it goes back to a society that is so self-centered. Me, that it cannot understand the idea that someone may not think like you do. And of course, they're all out there with their, well, the Christians are mean and they hate people, but what's really fascinating, we've talked about this before, they're so busy calling Christians bigots that they've become the bigots. Have you noticed that out there? Have you noticed how awful they treat people who are Christians? And hey, I'm a Catholic. I know, right? I'm a Catholic. And I support same-sex marriage. But they make the assumption that as a Christian, I do not. And so they treat me poorly. So, but here's the thing with me as well, is I support both sides. I support religious freedom and I support same-sex marriage. Two consenting adults, don't make me pay for your wedding. I don't give a shit. Have a nice life. Merry Christmas. I'm done with it. So I piss everybody off because the gays want me to say that the baker is wrong, and people who are all about just the religious freedom side of it are like, the gays are wrong. And I'm like, well, this is really stupid, but I would just bake the cake. And then I make everybody angry. Really, reality tells you, if you've ever worked in any kind of retail or any kind of business, if you piss one person off, they're going to go tell 20 people. And eventually it's going to come back and bite you. I think that makes a lot more sense, don't you think? Let the market dictate what's going on. I wouldn't go buy a wedding cake from somebody who would not make a wedding cake for a gay couple. That is my choice. Now, you might not have a problem with that, and that's fine. The market dictates that. But if it really turns into a situation where the bakers are acting like bigots, who are turning people away just because, the market will not tolerate that. They will eventually lose their business anyway. And instead, there's no government coming in, slapping them on the wrist and saying, you will do as you're told, and then they lose their business anyway. Why involve the government? This is what I think a lot of conservatives, and even Rand Paul is talking about tonight. Why is the government so involved with everything we frickin' do? It's a damn cake. It's a wedding cake, and we bring in judges to chat on religious freedom. Religious freedom is actually covered in the Constitution, not gay marriage. Although, I have to share this with you because it's funny that I'm going to take a short break. Yesterday, I was out in social media. It's like I'm frolicking amongst the liberals sometimes. And this woman told me that the Constitution was no good because men wrote it. Yes, those social justice warriors. Yeah, that was a great one. And I said, well, no, actually, they wrote it on innate rights and our freedoms and the things that we're born with that are not dictated by government. I'm all giving her my constitutional spiel because I'm a big believer in the Constitution. Call me crazy. And she tells me that we need to add amendments to the Constitution to protect gay marriage and to protect abortion. Now you can imagine how that went over with me. Yeah, let's protect killing babies in the Constitution. Didn't go over well. I'm pretty open about a lot of topics. I will discuss almost anything with people. But when we start talking about abortion, I am the first to admit that I will shut you down and I will walk away from you because I am not open to any ideas or excuses on why abortion is okay. So when she goes the route of, we need to add an amendment to make it, constitutionally protected, I kind of lost my shit for just a minute. And of course, I was too busy laughing at her about the idea of adding, these amendments because the Constitution doesn't respect women. The Constitution is not for women because men wrote. I cannot believe people really think like that. I shouldn't be surprised because Obama won twice. And clearly she was an Obama voter. I wonder if she likes to go and get her wedding cake or whatever. These people, I shake my head. I always think about this story. I was reading in Ben Shapiro's book about Andrew Breitbart, and Andrew would walk around his offices and he would yell, I hate these people. I get there sometimes myself. I hate these people. Okay, I'm going to take a short break. When I get back, I have this week's top 10 douchebags. Stay put.
will never fully understand what we've asked of our military service members or their families, asking them to put themselves in harm's way, to endure it all. But we do understand that it's our turn, our duty, to keep them secure for the rest of their lives. Wounded Warrior Project long-term support programs help our most severely ill or injured veterans live independently, at no cost, for life, so that they might stand at ease. Join us at findwwp.org.
And we're back from that short little break where I had a nice drink. Thank you for staying put. We are here live on this lovely Wednesday evening in May. Although it's hard to believe it's May because we had snow yesterday. I know it's Wyoming, I shouldn't complain, but I'm telling you, it's snowing and like my birthday is 3 weeks away. Crazy. Thank you for staying put. I'm about to go through this week's top 10 douchebags. Now, if you're new to the show, welcome aboard. And just so you know how this works, every week I take your nominations for douchebags out in social media. I compile them here for the show, and then we spend some time mocking and making fun of them. It's actually a lot of fun. Plus, it makes you part of what I'm doing every week, which I think is really cool. It becomes kind of like our show. So here is this week's top 10 douchebags. At number 10. Clinton confidant Sidney Blumenthal, just because he's an arrogant, entitled son of a bitch. And they said son of a bitch is one word, so I'm going to say it just like that. You know, the Hillary stuff, we'll talk about this a little bit later, but it just goes on. And basically anybody who's even tied to her in any way seems to be making my douchebag list. So Clinton confidant Sidney Blumenthal, congratulations at number 10. You're not only an arrogant, entitled son of a bitch, but you're a douchebag. At number 9, the Double D's, and I'm not talking about boobs, guys, thank you. The Double D's, the Blues on Twitter. Democrats have once again been nominated. The offending tweet being from a woman named Anne Marie Weirs, who complained that McDonald's makes $24 billion a year. Not understanding the franchises are owned by separate people. She likened it to its own economy. So McDonald's has its own economy. Yeah, and McDonald's is just this one giant conglomerate, and the franchises don't mean anything. You know, I think if Democrats actually looked at how business works, they would bitch a lot less. But then we'd have a lot less to mock, and she would not be a douchebag at number 9. Number 8. Is Mitch McConnell, who was ready to push the Patriot Act through as is. You know, the act that both Democrats and Republicans hate. Rand Paul is filibustering the Patriot Act today. For years now, I have disliked Mitch, and I get it. I'm reading several comments from you guys because Mitch was nominated more than once. For years now, I have disliked Mitch, and I get it. We don't want a Democrat in his place, but damn if he isn't acting like a Democrat himself. So Mitchie Poo, y'all kill me. Mitchie Poo, you're a douchebag at number 8. At number 7, I'm sorry, Sally Cohn has made the list again. You know, she's becoming a regular like Obama. Sally Cohn is on the list this week for making commentary on the Waco shooting between the bikers. She referred to white-on-white crime, as most of these leftist talking heads do, ignoring the 40 people that were killed in Chicago or shot in Chicago that was black-on-black crime over the weekend. Lawrence Jones, who is a popular pundit on Twitter, and he's also happens to be a black man, he tweeted that clearly Sally just wants to be black. Either way, Sally is a douchebag at number 7. Number 6 is UN Ambassador Samantha Power for comparing Mattress Girl's bravery to Afghan ladies' bicycling team. You know, Samantha Power, I'm a Samantha. And I tell you what, she's embarrassing to Samantha's everywhere. You know, the whole mattress thing ended up not being real anyway. I mean, she obviously has not gotten that memo. So she's sticking with that and comparing it to an Afghan ladies' bicycling team, you know, because women in Afghanistan are so free to do whatever they want, especially riding bicycles. Yeah. So I like how she compared the two, and that makes her a douchebag at number 6. Number 5 is DeRay McKesson. DeRay, like Cher, Madonna, DeRay, for being upset with President Obama over his signing of Senator Ben Cardin's so-called National Blue Alert System, which creates a nationwide alert system to help capture anyone who harms or threatens to harm a police officer. Sorry, I'm reading that. We all know DeRay is a joke in addition to being a douchebag. This guy actually brags about the number of people he has blocked. Now, for me, that just tells me that DeRay does not like to talk to people who disagree with him, but he brags about it like it's some kind of badge of honor. I think he says something like he has 14,000 people blocked or something, and, this is like some big deal in social media, and I don't bother to count how many people I have blocked because I don't really think about it like that. I only block the really annoying, crazy, or people I think might be dangerous. They get blocked. Otherwise, I just mute people. I have no idea. I get tired of listening to them. I mute them. He brags about blocking people. And he's pissed off because President Obama signed a law that holds people accountable for threatening to harm police officers. God forbid we protect police officers from crazies who want to kill them, and shoot them in the face and they die. Hello. But no, DeRay is all about DeRay and his agenda and his Mac and how much money he can make. Oh, wait. Yeah, he got paid, but did the protesters get paid? We'll talk about that later. And DeRay, you're a douchebag at number 5. Number 4 is Hillary Clinton. I wrote LOL. Okay, Hillary Clinton has been dodging the press, not to mention not a single Iowan Democrat could name even one of her accomplishments. And we made a joke about that, and we tried to name things that she's done. And I tried to give her credit. I'm like, you know what? It takes like a super badass liar and an evil person to lie to families while staring over caskets of their fallen loved ones. I mean, who else could do that? I mean, really give her credit for being a disgusting, filthy bitch, because that takes talent, let me tell you. There's one of her accomplishments. Yeah, they couldn't even come up with something she has done that's worth voting for. Oh, she traveled a lot. Oh, she gave uranium to the Russians. Oh, maybe she didn't do that. She's done nothing but be problematic for this country and make women who run for politics look like crazy bitches. And she's a douchebag at number 4. Number 3, the Twin Peaks restaurant in Waco, Texas, for ignoring warnings from the local PD and allowing the biker gangs to meet up in their restaurant anyway. I don't know about you guys, but let's say you own a restaurant and the police say to you, hey, these two gangs don't really like each other and they want to meet up and hang out in your restaurant and talk about why they hate each other. Maybe you shouldn't let this happen. I don't know about you, but I might go, there's something to think about. That might be a bad idea. Biker gangs aren't known for sitting around macrameing and making pretty pictures for each other. They're not known for talking out their differences. And don't get me wrong, I know lots of bikers who are awesome people who do amazing things. But when you're in 2 rival gangs, you don't like each other. There's not going to be much talking. And we know what happened. What was it, 28 injured, 9 killed? Police took credit for killing 4 of them. Bad stuff happened. Twin Peaks has lost its franchise in the meantime because they're douchebags and they're stupid at number 3. Oh, and you know what? I have to say this too. I think what you're seeing, because there's no riots taking place in Waco, guys. Nobody's out there complaining that the cops shot the bikers, And if you talk about this to the Black Lives Matter people, they're like, well, our folks were innocent, because Mike Brown didn't try to kill Darren Wilson and Gray didn't have a knife and was selling drugs. They were innocent. But the point is, we understand that the bikers were going to hurt other people and the cops did what they had to do. So we're not rioting because we don't have an agenda like Black Lives Matter. Plus, we're not getting checks, or supposedly getting checks and not getting checks, because we all know the protesters have not been paid. And they're douchebags too, at number 3. At number 2, I hope I say her name right, Seda Grundy, for her nasty hatred of white males. She said white men were a problem population. Well, I would agree with her. However, so are black men and white women and black women. Right now, populations are a problem in general because we've never been more segregated by ideas and hurt feelers than we are today. It's that popular thing with Democrats. Let's put people in buckets, because then we can use them in our agendas. We don't have to see them as individuals. We can just say, white men do this, black men do that. White women are this way, black women are this way. And then we don't have to think about who we're talking about. We can just pander and keep to our talking points. And that's exactly what she's done here. And Seda is a douchebag at number 2. At number 1, I know you guys are totally not guessing who it is because it never seems to be the same person. Yeah, Obama, for talking about climate change and only climate change. No matter what he's talking about, where he's talking, or who he's talking to, it's about climate change. Obama could be in the Middle East addressing ISIS itself, and he would find a way to make that fight about climate change. I think he chooses climate change because he doesn't actually have to produce anything with it. There are no real results expected. So, of course, that makes sense for him to push that and makes him the number 1 douchebag again this week. Phew. But you think about it, right? Anytime they can't prove climate change, they change the name. It was global cooling, then it was global warming, now it's climate change. So really, Obama doesn't have to produce any real results. He can sit back and go, well, I'm working on it, because nothing ever gets done on it. And what better thing for Obama to focus on? And our number 1 douchebag. Okay, guys, I'm taking a short break. When I get back, I have the one and only Evan Sayed on the line, so stay put.
Hey everybody, this is Jason, host of According to Me. I'd like to invite you to check out my show. It's a 2-hour show that lasts 60 minutes in... listen, I hate to interrupt, but one thing I can do is read off a script. Just say, let me be clear a lot. It works. President Obama, I can handle this. It's a radio promo. I'm not green. I've done this before. Did someone say green? Now, Al Gore is here. Listen, I'm just trying to record a radio promo. Do you mind? Now, do you say good things about me on the show? No, not at all. But if it makes you feel any better, I rip on Republicans just as much. The AM radio frequencies give off very high levels of radiation. Look, my show is on the internet, which you invented. Can I just do my promo? I got a pen. I can veto that, you know. I know you got a pen. It's not a law. It's a radio promo. Listen, just listen to my show. Barack Obama and Al Gore hate it, so you're going to love it. Here's an executive order. Don't listen to his show. He doesn't like me. He's racist. And he doesn't recycle either. That's it. I'm done. It's According to Me, Wednesdays, 10 p.m. Eastern, right here on K98 Talk.
And we're back. Thank you for staying put. You are here with Unapologetically Bunny. We are live here on K98Talk.com. And I think we have the one and only Evan Sayed on the line. Evan, are you there?
I am here. How are you?
I am great. How are you?
I am great, too.
I love hearing your voice again. It's been, you came on my show when I had just started and you gave me a chance. It's so cool to hear you again.
Well, and look at what you've done with it. I mean, I don't want to take total credit, but you're a superstar now.
Oh, hardly. You're the superstar. But, I got so excited when I heard about your upcoming tour. And, you are somebody I can look up to because you make great points and you're funny. I love that about you.
Well, I love that about me, too.
And you're humble and modest in what you do.
Well, listen, I'm in a very difficult position because I have two choices. I can lie and be humble, or I can be honest and sound arrogant. I mean, the truth is I have the number 1 viewed lecture in Heritage Foundation's history. The truth is I tweet once and it goes, did you see that tweet? Did you see this tweet heard around the world?
No, which one was it?
Oh, my. When Pamela Geller held her event, I tweeted my favorite drawings at the Pamela Geller event were the 2 chalk outlines out front.
That's right. I saw that.
And, I don't know if the numbers were groundbreaking. I mean, it was like 3,000 retweets and 3,000 favorites. But newspaper articles are written about it. There were articles across America. There was an article in the Independent of Great Britain. Sam, there was an article in the Nigerian Herald about it.
You're kidding me. How? No, okay, I have to ask. Have you been fearful for your life at all with that tweet?
Well, up until now, I felt a bit like an underachiever. So many of my friends have fatwas, and I don't. You know, Pamela Geller has a fatwa, and Coulter has a fatwa, and Robert Spencer has a fatwa. I got nothing. I actually, when I'm with them, I have to sit in the back of the room because I haven't made it to the point of a fatwa. So if not now, then when?
We need to get you one, don't we? We need to get you a fatwa because that means you've made it. You've pissed someone off enough want to hurt you. That's awesome.
Well, you know, all it really takes is to get one of those fake, you know, they have fake priests and fake reverends like to do a sort of mail order, and they call you that you passed the you're now legal. You can perform marriages, you can do all these things. It doesn't have to be a real Muslim. Just somebody who has one of those accreditations. I'll take it. I just want anything at this point, Sam.
You know what? We'll contact some local junior colleges and see if they're offering anything like that, and we'll hook you up, man. That's what we're all about. Oh my God, that's funny.
Even an apprentice mullah, it's okay with me.
Friend, you're killing me. Okay,
a mullah in training. You know, in MIT, a mullah in training will do.
Dude, okay. You know, I really want to make a point of this because if I don't talk, I will laugh at you for a half an hour.
Okay.
I think what's really important, and I want to talk a little bit about what you're doing with your upcoming tour. You talk about it as a cultural event, and I think it's also very entertaining and poignant. But your point is that conservatives are funny, and you are proof of that. Talk to me a little bit about that.
And beyond that, look, there's no doubt that conservatives have just as good a sense of humor. We laugh, of course we laugh, and of course we tell jokes, and of course we make up jokes and we ad-lib. And what's truly stunning is, how did I go from brilliant when I was a liberal to just not capable of humor simply because I now believe in lower taxes and I don't believe global warming is anything other than the farce that you mentioned it to be earlier? I mean,
right.
Literally, in a day, I went from a genius writing politically incorrect with Bill Maher to an idiot who can't even tell a joke. Obviously, the problem isn't us. The problem is that the left can't take a joke. And look, there are a lot of conservative. Well, they can't take a joke for a very simple reason. Republicans think Democrats are stupid.
Yes.
Democrats think Republicans are evil. I can be friends with stupid. I can work with stupid as long as they're not stupid at that one aspect, which is their job. I can even love stupid, but I can't love evil. I can't work with evil. I can't be friends with evil. And since they see us as evil, anytime we expose them, weaken them through ridicule, satire, and humor, they see that as a victory for evil, and they cannot laugh at themselves. I mean, it's the second half of it, which is that they are mentally ill and suffer from the disease known as narcissism.
Yeah.
And a narcissist can't laugh at themselves because all there is in their world is themselves. And so if they are less than the God they think they are and must believe they are, this shatters everything. So liberals have no sense of humor. And even when it's against the right, it's not funny most of the time. It's vitriol in the guise of humor. You know, I wrote Bill Maher's show back when he wasn't such a radical leftist yet, and I wasn't on the right yet. And there was humor there. There was wit. There was a turn of a phrase. There was cleverness. Now it's simply calling Sarah Palin, I don't use the word, but there's no humor in that.
No, there's not. But, you know, their humor has been about tearing the opposition down. And I love that you bring up the point that they have no sense of humor because today, okay, I was not appropriate, and sometimes that's who I am. I'm sorry, Evan, I'm not always appropriate. And they were talking about the whole damn gay bakery crap. I got in trouble because they were talking about the Muslim bakery, and I'm like, no, they just take the gays up to the roof and toss them off. Well, no one thought that was funny but conservatives, because I was trying to... They have no sense of humor whatsoever about this situation.
Listen, that tweet I mentioned before, all right, that was first a joke. Now, first of all, I know what a joke is, the structure of a joke. It's why I was able to write for so many different people. I mean, I was able to write for Arsenio Hall. I was the voice of Black America for 2 years. Why? Because I know what a joke is. And that was a very good, well-written, well-structured joke. And it's just a joke.
Right.
But here's the key. The butt of the joke were two would-be mass murderers.
Right.
And the liberals could not laugh at, even with the butt of the joke. Would-be mass murderers are now a protected category in liberalism.
Oh, yeah, because we hurt their feelings. That is what kills me is, well, we shouldn't have upset them in the first place. This is America.
Right.
People piss each other all the time off here, man, and we're worried about upsetting terrorists.
I gotta say, when we used to call each other by epithets, hey, he, come on over here, Spick, come on over here. There was so much less racial animosity than there is under the Obama administration and the liberal rule that you're not allowed to say, you're not allowed to speak, and anything is. Now, not only can't you say those words, but something that's even approaching it could be a trigger. It's not even that it is. And you know what's funny is that racism to the left, talk about racism, and they say, well, it's spoken in dog whistle. So in other words, you can't hear it. They say, well, it's not. It's done in microaggressions. It's microscopic, so you can't see it. It's dog whistle, so you can't hear it. You can't see it, you can't hear it. But not only does it exist, but it's central to everything.
You know, it's kind of like, and I have internalized misogyny or something, and the whole cisgender normative. I can't keep up with everything. So not only is everything racist, but everything is sexist or misogynist. And like you said, it's a dog whistle. You can't see it, and if you deny it, then you internalize it. That's the same kind of thing.
Well, this is the reason the left needs for there to be victims and oppressors. Because without it, then some cultures are better than others. Why isn't the black culture thriving the way that white culture does in America? Well, there's only two possibilities. Either there's something wrong with black culture, or there's nothing wrong with black culture and blacks are oppressed. And since liberals are not allowed to recognize that some cultures are better than others, the only possibility is that they're oppressed. Now they need to keep making up language and words and mental gymnastics and dog whistles and microaggressions because it's not real. So of course you can't see it. Of course you can't hear it.
You know, it's kind of like with the whole thing in Ferguson, and they're talking about all the crime and how the police are stereotyping young black men. And I keep saying, well, why are young black men the ones causing all the crime? What's going on in the black community? And then I'm a racist for asking about what might really be going on. Of course, it's the evil police who are oppressing the young black people. And, you know, I'm like, well, you know, there are 72% of homes where just a single mom, so maybe that's a problem. Oh, now I'm being racist. It is unbelievable that we cannot discuss a problem.
You cannot point to a culture's self-destruction. Every culture, I mean, I know you've read my book, The Kindergarten of Eden, How the Modern Liberal Thinks.
I did,
in
actually.
The modern liberal is not allowed to recognize any culture as better or worse than any other. Well, then, when a lesser culture self-destructs, it can't be because of the culture's own doing. So you and I know, and there was somebody today, maybe even on your site, who said low information voters. It's not the low information voters. It's the ones who have all the information and aren't allowed to process it. They're not allowed to think. To a liberal, thinking is an act of bigotry, and they reject thought.
But then they think they're so much smarter than everybody. I don't understand that, Evan. They, you know, we're not allowed to think, but then they think we're dumb and they're smarter than we. I don't get it. I don't understand it.
Well, first of all, I don't know if you saw the bit I do about Forrest Gump and what Forrest Gump says about liberals, but if you remember the movie Forrest Gump, Jenny was the liberal and Jenny was the smart one. Jenny did everything the most brilliant liberals told her to do. She tuned in, turned on, dropped out. She took drugs, and she almost jumps off the roof of a hotel and commits suicide because she's high. Right. She rejects, she starts to care about social justice, man, so she joins the Black Panthers, and they beat the crap out of her. She rejects the Judeo-Christian heritage of monogamy and engages in free love, and she dies of AIDS.
Yeah.
She did everything the liberals told her to do. And the point of that movie is that the smartest liberal is stupider than a mentally retarded conservative.
But it's absolutely, that's the thing about you, Evan, is I can laugh at you, but I'm like, oh my God, I hadn't thought about that. And you're absolutely right. She does everything with the free love. The Black Panthers do beat the crap out of her. But the thing about Forrest is Forrest still cares about her, and I think the point I'm making is conservatives, we get tired, but we still want people to succeed. We may not agree with you, but we don't want you to fail, mainly because we don't want to pay for you the rest of your damn life. But he does. He still looks for the good in her, and I think that's really interesting. That's an amazing point. I hadn't thought about it. And I've watched you do your bits for a long time. You need to talk about your tour a little bit because I want to make sure people know where you're going to be and how they can get you to come to their area.
All right,
but, that's a really smart point.
There was a second reason, a second part to why I'm going out on tour. Because going out on tour is not easy. And it's especially not easy when you get no help from late-night television. You get no help from the media. I have to make all the travel arrangements. I'm taking the financial risks here. But I think it's essential that we go into these clubs to also show club owners that there's a market for conservative comedy. Just like film houses, don't think that they think they have to show movies for 14-year-old boys because only 14-year-old boys go to movies. And it's sort of circular reasoning and a vicious cycle, because what happens is only 14-year-old boys go to movies because they only make movies for 14-year-old boys. Yep. So there's not a single conservative comedian working the club circuit right now. Not one that I can think of. And there are many conservative comedians, but they work conservative events. They work the church circuit. They work all these other places where they don't have the disadvantage. Well, it's time we took the club scene back. And that's why it's so important that everybody, you've got 60,000 followers on Twitter.
I know,
1,200. No? Did I make up that number?
No, you're right. That's crazy. But yeah, 60,000, like a small city in Wyoming,
That's right. That's 1,200 per state. That is, let's say, some states have more than others. I only need about 1 out of every 5 of your followers to come see me, and I'll sell out these shows. And that will say to the club owner, you know what? If you bring in acts, we can fill your house. Just like what happened with movies recently with Heaven is for Real and God is Not Dead, and especially American Sniper. And you know what? It's going to make a difference. And with the technology that's now out there, we don't need Hollywood to make movies anymore. And we don't need, the big agent in Hollywood to get us into the clubs. All we need is for your audience to come see us and spend the money and have a good time. So everybody, come see my show. Not only is it great, I promise you. Read the reviews. Watch the clips. Make it, decide for yourself. But don't just sit at home and go, I'm going to watch TV tonight. Come out and support conservative entertainment. Because if you don't, then you can't bitch when there isn't any.
And you know what? That's such a great point. Now, you're in Phoenix or Scottsdale, Arizona. Where are you at next week?
Well, that's I call it Phoenix, but it's Scottsdale. So it's the Phoenix Scottsdale area. It's the Laugh Factory, which is just such a gorgeous, brand new comedy club. And it's huge. It's like 400 seats, which is a lot to fill. So especially in Phoenix, buy your tickets now. And so that's a week from today. And then a week after that, I'm in Chicago again at the Laugh Factory. And after that, Boston and then New York. And if things go well, we'll be adding cities after that.
No, you and I talked, and I'm still working. I really want you to come to Wyoming because I know we'd fill a house here for you.
Do you even have a house in Wyoming?
We have indoor plumbing even, man. It's really cool. No, we actually have a civic center.
There's actually a new technology coming called Talkies, where the movie actually has the actors speaking, and that's going to be so exciting for you folks in Wyoming.
I do the show on a can and string, so I totally can't wait for the talkies. You know how much crap I take for Wyoming, and it's really funny because it's kind of so true.
I believe, where is Rock Springs? Is that Wyoming?
Rock Springs is in Wyoming. We call it the armpit of Wyoming, but it is Wyoming.
Okay, because I'll tell you about a gig I did there once. Driving through the series of one-nighters, and I did a one-nighter in Rock Springs. First of all, there was no parking lot. It was all gravel.
Yep.
There were no cars on the gravel. They were all pickup trucks.
Yep.
And Sam, I swear to you, they must have had some kind of deal or something they did with each other, but every single license plate was one spelling or another of redneck. REDNYK.
You know what, though? In Wyoming, they would love that joke. And I think it's because, well, we're incredibly red.
It wasn't a joke. I swear to you. I swear to you, the only gig that was ever more odd than that one was Roy, Washington, where everybody arrives on horseback.
We don't do that. Well, maybe. If you were in Cody or that area, Du Bois, you go up that area, maybe.
Right, all of the above. There was a series of one-nighters where you just did bars. That's what you did when you were starting out and you needed the work and you needed the pay. You went to Wyoming. I'm too old for Wyoming, Sam.
It's true. It's true. But I think now that we're getting technology here, I really think that you would do so well in Wyoming. We are a state, we are very red, and we laugh at ourselves a lot. And I think that goes right back to what you talk about, that liberals have no sense of humor. They cannot laugh at ourselves. But conservatives, we can. Why do you think that is? Why can we laugh and they can't? What's the difference?
Because we have things that are bigger than us, and we know that we're human and we're fragile and we're sinners, and liberals have nothing in their life but themselves. All right, they don't tend to have God. Even if they go to church, they don't tend to have God. They adapt their religion to suit their ideology. But they don't tend to have any. And so, this is a culture of narcissism. And, my book, The Kindergarten of Eden, all right, the reason it's called that is, and I argue this, and I swear I believe it's true. This is not hyperbole. This is not making a point through exaggeration. The modern liberal is morally and intellectually retarded at the level of the 5-year-old child. All right, that's when he enters kindergarten. And that's where he is taught that he is not allowed to think. He is not allowed to engage in discriminating thought. Because to the liberals, thinking is an act of discrimination, and it is. But they see it as evil discrimination because anything you think is going to be a reflection of your own bigotries. So the only way not to be a bigot is to never think at all.
But see, and here's the thing with the whole, going back to, but the gay baker thing and all these people saying it's discrimination. I'm like, people discriminate every freaking day. When you go to the grocery store, you're like, okay, that cashier is going to be slower than that cashier, so I'm going to go, are you discriminating against that cashier? The stores that are 5, 7, and 9, are they discriminating against the women who are size 11?
And I'll go just a little bit further. Discriminating is the essence and the entire thing that makes humans humans. That you're able to discriminate. Oh, that light is red, I'm not going to drive. Oh, that light is green, I am going to drive. All right, discriminating thought is the essence of humanity.
I'm trying to point that out because they're like, well, it is all about discrimination. And I'm just, one idiot said, you might as well make the gays ride in the back of the bus. And I'm like, who are you? Are you serious? It's a freaking cake. I don't understand this level. I don't think like that. And again, I think it's because I'm not at the level of a 5-year-old. I think that...
Right, well, I'll tell you what it is. All right? We always hear Bush is Hitler or Giuliani is Hitler or you're Nazi, you're a fascist. How are we like Hitler? Here's how. Hitler discriminated against the Jews. Right? Rudy Giuliani discriminated against the mobsters committing crimes in New York. Since they both were not indiscriminate, they're both evil discriminators. Thinking is an act of evil to the liberals. Thinking. It has been outlawed. I have an expression. The first time you think is the last time you're a Democrat.
But it's so true. And I don't know how. I feel like I just beat up on them because I don't have any tolerance left. And I know we have to find a way to talk to each other because if we don't, it's just going to get worse. How do we bridge it? How do we get past that? Is there any way to get a 5-year-old to change their mind? Besides putting them in timeout and spanking their ass.
First of all, obviously there is, because a lot of us have. It's very, very telling that so many conservatives were once liberals. There are 0 liberals who were once conservative. All right, because nobody grows up, spends time in the real world, gets smarter, gets wiser, gets more experienced, and says, you know what, conservatism is wrong, liberalism is right. Either you grow up a liberal, which is what virtually every child in America does, because when you're a child, liberalism makes sense.
Yeah.
And then
big ideas and happy people and rainbows and everybody gets what they want. Absolutely. I was there. I was totally a liberal until after college.
We were all children. We were all children. And you can be a liberal when you're a child because you don't do anything of significance. You go out and play, right? You don't you don't know very much. And there are adults who will absorb the consequences of your stupidity. That is what a liberal is today. They don't do very much. They don't know very much. And they expect the grown-ups to absorb the consequences of their stupidity. So what happens is either you grow up and become one of the adults or you stay a liberal your entire life.
And I always think about how...
You know what? I didn't
conservatives and liberals are parents almost sometimes, and that the liberal is the easy parent and lets them get away with whatever they want, and the conservatives are the hard parent saying you can do better, and they say no.
I don't think so. I think that used to be the case, and famously, people would always say, this is not a new concept, that the Democrats are the mommy party and the Republicans are the daddy party. And like unfortunately, mommy is no longer with us. Mommy has passed on. It is now the grown-up party and the children's party. And we have become somewhat softer. We have become on our side, and good for us, you know. That's part of our personality. But the other side is not the mommy. The other side are the children. They're the ones who don't want to face reality. They're the ones who think that they live in this fantasy world where if you just don't say certain words, then certain concepts won't exist. All right, but you asked earlier, and this is essential. How can we change this? And I have a program called Adopt a Democrat.
That's right.
Because I believe America is not divided in two. We're divided in three. There are those of us who get it, that the better exists, and our job as human beings is to seek out and promote the better, both within ourselves and within the community. And, by the way, we recognize that America it's not just better, but exceptional, and we seek to conserve those values. That's why we're called conservatives.
Yes.
Right, all the way on the other side, there's just a brain-dead liberal. There's the Rosie O'Donnells about whom, I mean, what can you say to a woman who says 9/11 was an inside job, and proof of the pudding is that never before in history has fire melted steel? Well, Sam, that's right. That's a strong scientific argument with one small problem. Fire is how you melt steel. Fire is how every piece of steel has ever been melted. So what are you going to say to this angry, confused, stupid woman who's willing to believe something so stupid? Well, there's nothing you can say to her. But there are a whole bunch in the middle who have never heard from a conservative what a conservative believes. Right? Who have they heard it from? Their liberal teachers or their liberal professors? Their liberal newscaster or the liberal rock star? Who would they have heard from a conservative? So you need to be that conservative. Find one person in your life, and it's essential they be in your life. You and I can talk at them all we want, and they can disregard us as Nazis, fascists, and Hitlers because they don't know us. Right. But it's that much harder for your sister, your cousin, your colleague of 40 years, your neighbor of 30 years, to just disregard you as an evil person who's lying to them.
Absolutely.
Find one person in your life, and over time, Sam, this is key. One thing we do wrong is we try to win every debate every time, and they just shut down. What you do is just have a good time with them, love them, but when they say something particularly egregious, that guy never should have made that video that got the ambassador killed. You step up, you lay out the facts about how ridiculous that is, and then you move on. Go back to having fun with them. It might take years. That's why I call it adopted Democrats, like adopting a child, because then they are children. They literally are children. And over the course of time, you will change people. I've changed scores of people with this method. Adopt a Democrat.
Adopt a Democrat. Okay, yeah, I have to really work on it. I would need you to teach me because my tolerance is getting less. and I'm having a harder time not just punching people in the face when they say dumb things. So I can learn from that from you. I want you to tell people where they can find your book and where and remind them again of your tour stuff, because I've only got a couple minutes left and I want to make sure they find you.
I want to make sure they find me too. All right. First of all, the book is based on a lecture I gave to the Heritage Foundation, which Andrew Breitbart called one of the 5 most important conservative speeches ever given. All right. It's now the most widely viewed lecture in their entire history. 1 million people. The book's called The Kindergarten of Eden: How the Modern Liberal Thinks. It's at Evan Sayet, S as in Sam, AYET.com. Read the book. Also, go watch some of the videos of my stand-up there, so you see how important it is. It's not just a couple of, hey, isn't Hillary fat in those
No,
pants?
it's not.
It's thoughtful comedy, and it's important. And you can watch the videos there and buy your tickets right there. Just look to the box that says get your tickets. Phoenix, I need you to turn out. If you're within an hour of Phoenix, turn out for this.
Yes, I agree. And I will be promoting and pushing that show because we need to get the butts in the seats. I totally agree with you. Evan, you are not only really funny, but you make such good points, and you actually make me think. I can't thank you enough for coming on tonight. I've got like 2 minutes, so I got to shut you down. But how do they find you in social media?
It's at Evan Sayet. It's Evan Sayet on Facebook. I'm easy. And, Google the last name Sayet, and you'll find me because there's nobody else with my name.
Awesome. I will make sure and push everybody there. I can't thank you enough. I always love talking to you. I laugh so much, and I learn every time, man. You're great. I can't thank you enough. Have a good night.
You too, Sam. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye, Evan. It goes by so quick, and I'm sorry. I feel like I laughed more than I talked, and I told you guys that would happen. But here's the thing about Evan is, again, you will laugh, but you really think. And he made me think, again, because I'm always, the Democrats are the moms and the conservatives are the dads. And he's got a really better point that we're talking about children and adults. And I love the idea of adopt a Democrat. I would really have to work on that, but I think you guys go out and find Evan, go to his show, please put conservative butts in those seats and show them that conservatives have a sense of humor and that we want to be a part of this industry, that we are a part of this industry. And go read his book, you'll learn something. Okay, awesome. You know what, guys, I'm about done. And this always goes by so quick. I can't thank you enough for being here tonight with me. I always love seeing all y'all in the chat. I see you out there, Donna. I see you, Bill. I see you, Heaven, Sarcasm, Eric, Ron, American Woman. Thank you for being here tonight. You guys make the show happen. You keep me going. I'm going to wish you all a great weekend. It's a Memorial Day weekend. Think of people who you have lost and loved. And I will talk to you. I'm actually going to be on, I'm guesting on Frank and Ann's show this Saturday. And then I'm going to be sitting in for Leslie with Bill on The Right Angle next Tuesday. So I will talk to you next week. Have a wonderful weekend. Go out there and find your Evan Sayet information. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Je ne regrette rien, ni le bien qu'on m'a fait, ni le mal, tout ça m'est bien